Oh, it's way too early in the morning for this. Recently, I went on a trip to Nashville with my friends. Super fun time. I took some dope photos, so today we're going to show you how I edited those. Let's get into it. So today we'll be starting on this photo. This is one of my favorite photos that I took of the trip. It was super cloudy outside, so it was like a nice soft light coming in from the window. So I had asked Trevor to step by the window, got this. 1DX Mark II, 24 to 70 from Sigma. So let's get into it. We're going to go from this to this. All right. Normally I will start with a crop 4 to 5, 4x5 because of Instagram. I'll do like auto, normally works well with the straightening. Trying to get his elbow in there, not crop his face too much. Kind of want his face here, his hands there. There's the two focal points that I'm looking at. And then auto, we already have that going. That looks pretty good to me. All right, so starting off, we'll go down here normally, and I will do remove chromatic aberrations, enable profile corrections, and that'll just set us up for the proper exposure and everything. Do auto just to see what that's like. It's way too warm in my opinion, so we're gonna bring this down. Cool, I'm kind of liking it right there.
Maybe a little less, a little more.
Honestly, that doesn't look too bad. Okay, so kind of looking at the histogram, it's pretty even, but we will raise this. I am actually kind of liking the light, airy feel to this, so we're gonna just raise the exposure a little bit, and we're going to drop the highlights so that we can see all of this out the window. Sometimes 100's too much, but in this instance, I think with the negative 100, you're able to see the face and the buildings outside. So we'll definitely go with that. Shadows now. Looking in here, I'm not wanting to see too much of this background, but I don't want to blow it out completely. Maybe we'll, so yeah, that's like not looking too bad right there for me. Whites, I will normally bring up, but kind of just play with a little bit. I'm liking the way it's catching his face right here. Blacks, I don't want too much contrast in his actual, kind of want it to focus on that. I don't want his hair too dark. I'm definitely liking this contrastiness though, so we will go with that for now. So normally I won't pump too much clarity in. Normally 10, 11 is the most, but I definitely want the hands kind of to show that like sharpness there, and we'll add a little bit of sharpness, just a little bit later. So what I'll normally do here, because of the contrast and he's popping a little bit, we will add a little bit of vibrance, but not too much. Maybe, honestly, I'm just gonna type in 5. 5 sounds pretty good. It's not too much. It has a little bit of pop, and I will normally desaturate it just a hair. It's negative 10 most of the time, and you can see that it's taking some color out of his face, but we will add that back through the HSL sliders. Curves here. So with the curves, normally I'll do a basic S curve, but we have a lot of contrast, so we might jump back up here, take some blacks out, raise the shadows a little bit. I'm kind of wanting to do that now, just a little bit. Maybe that looks pretty good. Okay, so we want faded just a little bit, just a hair. Bring this down. See there's the contrast coming back in the photo into the midtones. We want him to really be popping and the focal point of the actual photo. So I normally bring the midtones up on something like this, just to kind of show shadows, midtones, highlights. He's the focal point, make him the brightest part of the image. So then, like I said, we're gonna actually bring the highlights back down, not too much, because then we'll see some flattening on his face right here. So I'll bring this not below the line, but just on or right above the line, and get those. And I want the curve to not be very notchy necessarily, but I want it to be a smooth transition between each points. I'm gonna see actually if I bring the shadows up here. Okay. This is kind of what I'm looking for here. His face seems pretty even. The highlight roll off is pretty nice. Shadows. I might raise just a little bit on his hair, but I kind of like this. That's looking pretty good. We'll leave it right there for now. That's definitely something I like. All right, so now this is when the photo starts to get really put together in the HLS panel. Now, this photo already, if we could toggle back. All right, so already looking, without touching any of the HLS sliders, this is what we're on, and this is what we started with. So I don't know why I zoomed in on your face, Trevor. So there's not actually too much difference going on. I think this one you can see kind of his face a little bit clearer in some regard, and the skin tones are a little bit nicer. In this one, I feel like this is a little bit too yellow. This is more of his actual skin tone, what he looks like in real life. And then this jacket right here, this coat he's got on, I definitely like to desaturate some yellows. I think it gives a nice different look to the photo. So I take the yellows out of the jacket. So we'll do that right now. But yeah, looking pretty good so far. It just really depends on what you like, but I play around bunch in these. And for the reds, I don't want them to pop too much. I like it to blend in with the orange and yellow as well. So with the reds, his lips right there, I like the separation between his lips and the actual skin. All right, so with this, I'll either make it a little more pinkish or a little more orange, but I'll move it in a very small amount of range here. We're gonna make it a little more pinkish just so we can see his actual lips. With the oranges, it's kind of a struggle trying to figure out between the orange side. I'll normally push it more yellow, but not much at all, to get that like more natural skin tone, I guess. And then with the yellows, kind of the same thing. There is definitely yellow in his skin, but we're kind of focusing on this jacket. So in this scenario, I'll warm it up into the more reddish hue a little, and that looks pretty good. Skin tones look pretty, we might tweak it a little more later. With grains, if I don't even see any green in the shot, I will kind of just do this, see if anything changes. If not, or nothing much, I'll leave it in the center. Sometimes you don't see anything at first, and then it'll pop up later in the image, and so I just like leave it at 0 if I don't really see it. Now with this, there's not too much blue, but I'm seeing a blue here, a little blue here. You can go a little teal on each if you want. I don't, for this image, really necessarily want that. I would like this to say pretty neutral blue, so I might push a little bit of teal about right there. Can definitely see the teal starting to come in the blues right here, but it's not overbearing, and a little bit in his glasses as well. There's no purple or magenta that I see in this image, so we're just gonna leave it maybe like right here, but this is obviously the focal point, so we're not gonna worry about that right now. So saturation, I don't want to make his lips hugely pink or like that, so again, kind of just center. We might actually saturate it just a wee tad bit, but nothing much. We're definitely going to make his skin pop a little more with some saturation there. And then yellows, like I said, dragging those down. Now I wouldn't go all the way to where it looks, I don't mind this necessarily, but I think it's a little too much. And that's when you start to see in the highlights kind of some maybe decoloration there. So we'll actually bring this up just a wee bit, but literally mostly just gone. Right about there is what I'm liking in the color of this jacket. You kind of see some still in here, and there, right there. So green, again, we didn't even touch it up here, so we're not going to touch it up here. Now saturation for the blues, I'll either bring it all the way down or just a little bit under. In this situation, I don't want to bring it too far down. We are getting some of that teal and orange around this area of his face, which I kind of like. So we might bring it down just a little bit. But again, not too much. We kind of want that separation, that contrast in color. Aqua, again, same thing. We'll actually leave that alone at 0, and then nothing here. So, bump the table. So far, this is looking pretty good. It's quite poppy. Definitely different, I think, than what we started with, but we're pretty similar, so we might have to tweak a few more things. I'll normally yellows. If I have to, I'll brighten them up. This is already pretty bright, so we'll leave that alone. His skin tones looking pretty good. I just kind of play with it. Don't look at the numbers, and I'm liking right there. So we definitely, oh no, and then I look at it again, change my mind, bring it up. I kind of look away. Even that little second look away and look back definitely changes it. So, excuse me. Not looking too shabby right there. This kind of messing with these, and then his nose and lips. We'll like darken those just a little bit. Yeah, and that's not too bad. We might actually reverse what I said and darken these. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So we're gonna, instead of taking saturation back into the yellows, we're going to darken the luminance, and that's gonna kind of neutralize the contrast between the jacket and his actual skin, and that makes it look a lot more natural. So now we're looking definitely where I'm wanting it to. For right now, we're just leave this all alone. We'll go back. All right, sharpening. So this is naturally at 40. I tend to go, if I want this image to be sharp and there's already not much noise, we're at 64 or 640 ISO, not too bad on my 1DX. So we are going to bring this up to around 65. I don't go over 70. 70's pushing it, so 60, 65, 65, and that allows for the contrast in the background here. If you look at the original photo, his fingers are a lot softer. And I think overall this, especially when you post it on Instagram, will give the image definitely a nice look. So coming down here, I tend to add a lot of grain, and this photo actually didn't. But 30 is normally where I put it. This one, I think it could be good without or with. We're actually gonna leave it without today. Now for these, this is really, I don't know, this is something I touch on every single one of my photos, but this calibration, and I will just tweak all of these as much as I need. So with this photo, I'll tend to push more green than magenta. With this photo though, it's looking like a more magenta photo. That's magenta. -1's looking pretty good. When I go into green, it kind of cools the photo off. So we're just gonna go -1. That looks pretty good in my opinion. So if we look at the original photo here, this is what we have. This is what we did, and this is what the edit was. And if you scroll on my Instagram and you find a photo that you like and you want to know how that's edited, comment below, like this, DM me, who cares, whatever it is, I will gladly make that video for you. I post every single Friday, so stay tuned for next week. Live your life, guys. Have fun. We'll see you next time.